Aquí les traigo el relato de cuatro pontrangas bravas.
Hi, I'm George Varga, music critic for the San Diego Union-Tribune, and we are honored to have 2017 Latin Grammy nominee Susan Narucki, who is nominated for this album here, Cuatro Corridos, and who is a professor of music at the University of California at San Diego. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
This chamber opera, you commissioned it debuted in 2013. How long in the making was it prior to that?
Actually, it was, we started talking about it in 2010 and got the idea to have this chamber opera that was addressing the problem of human trafficking across the US-Mexican border in 2011. And so it was 2 years in the making before we brought it to fruition.
There are 4 pieces, as the title Cuatro would indicate, and the music for each was composed by a different composer?
That's right. I mean, what we did, the structure of the story is really interesting. Jorge wanted to tell one story through the point of view of 4 different women. So 2 of the women are young women who were trafficked. They're young Mexican women who came from the city of Tenancingo and were trafficked across the border to serve as prostitutes for illegal migrant workers. Those are 2 of the characters. A third character is a policewoman who actually helped to break up this ring, this trafficking ring. And the second character in the opera is a woman who was trafficked herself, but then went to the other side, became the wife of one of the traffickers, and served basically as a pimp. So all their stories are interwoven in this one incident.
Now, these are real people?
Well, they're based on real people. Yeah, they're based on true events. They're an amalgamation that Jorge put together, but he wanted to tell this story from 4 different points of view.
It is one thing to have a concept and envision it, and another to be at the other end when you've completed it. Were you surprised by anything maybe take a left turn that you hadn't anticipated that maybe was even better than what you hoped for, or was it pretty much what you were aiming for?
No, it was completely different than what I had hoped for. It was actually much better than I ever thought in some ways that are essential, and I'll give you an example. We had a Skype telephone call between all the composers and me and Pablo Gomez to talk about which character they wanted to choose. Now, we didn't predetermine that. We basically gave the libretto to people and said, choose the character that speaks to you. And there was a terrible moment on this Skype call between 10 different time zones when I thought, oh my God, what if they all choose the same character? But they didn't. They all were struck by a different character's story. From that point onward, I didn't meddle with them at all. And I thought, well, will their compositional languages speak to each other? What's going to happen when we put them together? And it turned out that they really create a beautiful dramatic and musical arc. And I never could have planned that. I never could have predicted that. So in some ways, yeah, it's the magic of chance, but everyone involved in the project really believed in it, and I think that had something to do with it too.
Human trafficking and gun violence are deeply profound and troubling topics. What draws you to a theme or concept for an opera? And if someone were to play devil's advocate, if someone to say, well, why don't you do a more upbeat or happy-go-lucky topic, how would you reply? Well,
that's a really good question, and I guess I've done a lot of happy-go-lucky things in my life, but you know, one of the strange things about getting older is that you realize that, you know, you want to do things that matter. No one ever asks why rap music is political. Nobody ever asks why some aspects of theater are political. Nobody ever asks those questions. But people do wonder when we do things within a classical art form or classical music genre, things that are activists, things that are responding to contemporary life. And why is that? I mean, to me, these are things that I think about as a citizen of our country, as a citizen of the world. I think about these things all the time, and I wonder, why can't I address them in art? So that's, I guess that's why. But I promise if I get through the next project, my last project that I will do will actually have I'm already imagining what it is, and it's going to be a bit more, it's going to have a more upbeat story, I think. You know, I moved to San Diego 10 years ago to be part of this community, and I'm from the East Coast originally, and I thought at the time, wow, how will I ever adjust? But I love it here. It's a great community, and I think the art scene is just thriving, and I'm just proud to be a part of it.
We're very happy to have you be part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, George.